Hi, so I'm here with a review of Allegiant by Veronica Roth, and I'm not sure how coherent this review is going to be. I just read the book. I finished a couple hours ago, and I wrote a few things down to talk about, but I'm not sure it'll actually make any sense or anything. I know that there's a lot of mixed reviews about the book, and a lot of people say, I think in the end, that they don't like it. And I guess I'll just start off by saying that I give the book 5 out of 5 stars, and it's my favorite of the series. So I would go Allegiant, Divergent, Insurgent. I really like it. I think it was a little slow to get going, but in the end I obviously really enjoyed it. Did like mark things, I'm not sure if I want to talk about those or whatever. The first thing is Kara, who I don't really remember from Insurgent at all. I feel like I need to go reread it now because she was hilarious. Like, I have half of these are just where I notated things she said. That's not very good. But she, and especially with 4, she seems to say a lot of things that are just, I don't know. She's hilarious. I think that's the first thing. Yeah, was he's like upset and she says, "Are you alright?" And he says, "Yeah." And then she says, "You know, it would be perfectly logical for you to be panicky right now. No need to continually insist upon your unshakable masculinity." And she just has stuff like that the whole book, and I'm like, was she like this in Insurgent? Did I not see this in Insurgent? Another character I really liked in this book is Peter. Like, I don't know. I've really been into like villain or bad guy type people lately and everything in movies and TV shows, so I don't know if it's just part of that or if it's something else. But he just, I'm trying to see, I feel like there were things that he was very interesting, and I love that he acknowledged that he was messed up and wanted to do something about it. I don't know, and I think he had some of the most insightful things to say. Like, I love when he questions Tobias about Triss and about why people follow her, and he's basically like, don't you realize that people just do this all the time, and somebody needs to do that. Like, she keeps, I know she's the heroine, but not every decision she makes is the right one, even if it ends up being right, or she doesn't always make the most thoughtful decisions, and they do affect the people around her, and it's like Peter's the only one that really acknowledges that. Another thing is, I think that this book was probably the most insightful, and I guess commented the most on like our world, I guess. I think dystopians in general are always commenting on the world that we live in. That's what a dystopian novel is. But, because I feel like this is how Mockingjay was, where, and I think that a lot of the people that didn't like Mockingjay didn't like this. And I like, it's not my favorite of Hunger Games books, but I definitely like Mockingjay. And I feel like they have a lot of the same things in them, where you think you know what you're doing and you're fighting for something, but then it just gets ripped out from underneath you. And you don't know if you're making the right decision or not. And like, there's a moment, so when Triss says, "Oh, we're just gonna wipe their memories," and like the people at the bureau, 4 says, "Wait, you really want to erase the memories of a whole population against their will? That's the same thing they're planning to do to our friends and family." And that stuck out to me for a couple reasons, and I think the one thing that I like immediately went to is Mockingjay. Like I said, they're similar. When they vote on whether or not to hold the Hunger Games again with the people that had oppressed them, it's basically the same thing. It's, you're making this decision that other people have made, but because you view yourself as right, you're making the right decision. And it kind of makes you wonder who is right and who is wrong. Because we've been with Triss and Tobias this whole series, we naturally assume that they're making the right choice. and that what they're doing is right. But everyone thinks what they're doing is right. Like, most evil people don't walk around in the world thinking that they're the villain to their story. They really do think that they're the hero, and they do think that what they're doing is right. And so, like, who is Tris and who is For to decide that this is the right thing to do? I have no idea if that makes sense, but I thought it was really interesting. Oh, the whole idea of the fact that they've been watching this whole time. I mean, I'm with Tris. That's a little creepy, like, that people saw everything you did, but that's not the worst part to me. The worst part to me is you were watching this go on. Like, how many times did Tris almost die? Seriously. And then how many people have died? I mean, so many, just in these 3 books, like, that have actually physically died in the books. Not even the people that died like before the books or anything like that. All these people have died, and like, Tris has put herself in these horribly dangerous situations to save people. Who just watches that? Like, how, I mean, I know that's what experiments are, is you set up an experiment and you have to let it play out without getting involved. But clearly they'll get involved because they sent Tris's mom in, so, which was really interesting, and I have her little diary thing, so I want to read that. But when do you, like, what is the acceptable loss? And that's really weird, and I think that that's kind of another place where it's like talking about what we do in our world is how we'll watch things happen but won't get involved. And whether it's on a small scale or a large scale, and I'm not saying that, at least I hope not, our government is like experimenting on people and stuff, but I don't know. And what kind of people just can't, like, don't do anything? I mean, it's supposed to be the genetically pure people, but you're not, like, do you not have the compassion to care? Like, because my understanding is genetically pure people are the people that are everything. You know, they're intelligent and selfless and courageous and honest and and they have that peaceful nature to them. So how are you not compassionate? Like, how, that sounds more like all you care about is science and the study, and I don't know. I really liked Tobias and Tris's relationship in this book. The fact that it was not perfect, and it was so interesting, and I think it was really cool to see it from both their perspectives. I mean, for a while there, I really thought they were just going to break up, and that was just going to be it. But it made it so much more real, because they needed to have these conversations, and they needed to argue about it, and at one point she said something, we're going to have to keep forgiving each other. That's not something that is in question. You know, it's just the facts. Like, this will continue to happen. We will continue to upset each other. That's how we are. That's what being in a relationship is about. And that was great. It made me believe in their relationship more. It made me fight for them more. I mean, I liked them before, but it felt like a real relationship instead of just people that were thrown together by circumstance and really didn't have any other options. So the dual perspective thing. I am not a big fan of dual perspectives. I'm also not a fan of first person. And I think that might be one of the reasons I actually like this one is I don't really like being in Tris's head. So being out of her head for even a little while was nice. And I've read the 2 novellas that are out so far from For's perspective, and I like both of them. So I actually enjoy being in his head. I know some people found him whiny, but I didn't. Like, yes, he's upset. I didn't think he was that bad. But I don't like dual perspectives because, 1, I usually find them confusing, and 2, if you want more than one perspective in a book, write in third person. That's just my opinion. I actually didn't find this confusing. I found it really easy to get into. I'm not sure if it's because I had read the novellas, so I've already gotten, like, a little bit of For's mind, so, like, it's not hard for me to go back and forth. But as we get to the ending, I kind of assumed Tris was gonna die. I mean, why else would it suddenly go into dual perspectives? I'm not sure if I said this already, but I'm not her biggest fan. So can't say I was too sad to see her go. Although I'm definitely in the school of thought that, like, and I guess Veronica Roth is in the same school of thought as me, that Harry Potter should have stayed dead. I'm also not a fan of Harry Potter, but I know. Maybe someday I will do a video about that. I mean, I like the books, I just don't like Harry Potter. But it still surprised me that she died, and I thought the worst part was when, because you're going, like, you find, like, he finds out she's dead, and then you have these three super short chapters that keep saying Tobias the top, and then you have this one where there's nothing. And that's when I was like, okay, she's really dead, because we no longer have to differentiate. And I thought that was one of the saddest parts of the book, was when that's telling you for real it's over. And I do think the ending was sad. I did cry. I cried actually during the epilogue, which was a beautiful epilogue. I think sometimes epilogues are a little cheesy or a little overdone, but I thought this one was beautiful, and that's when I cried when he talked about getting rid of her ashes and everything. And it's definitely sad, but that's a good thing. You want to feel emotion about these characters. That means that you care about them and you are fighting for them and everything. And I know a lot of people are upset about it, but in my opinion, this was the best ending. And I know, and I'm a happily ever after person. Like, you know, I love Disney movies and romance novels, so of course I love happily ever afters. And this book is a happy ending. Like, I know that initially when people are reading it, you're not going to think that. And romantically, is it a happily ever after? No. Although in my head I like to think that someday they will be together again, of course, and everything. But in pretty much every other way, the book is a happy ending. Because I don't think the story would have ended the same if Tris had lived. And so what I mean by that is her death really pushes Ford to do the thing that he should have done from the beginning. If he had just gotten into politics in the beginning, things probably would, it would have been a little different. At least in Dauntless, they would have been a little different. But he avoided that. I'm not saying that he caused all this or that that choice killed Tris. Like, no. But it pushed him to get involved in politics and to see things from a different point of view. And he's making these decisions now because of what happened. And that's a good thing. And I don't think he would have made those same decisions if Tris was around still. I think, although he wouldn't have gotten involved in politics, he and Tris probably would have just gone off into the world and, like, had babies and, like, lived like hermits. Like the Hunger Games. Not that either of those characters should have gotten involved in politics, but he stands a chance now, and so that's a good thing. And the world is ending better. I mean, clearly there's this movement towards getting the genetically pure and the genetically damaged people on more equal footing. And yeah, it's not 100% when the book ends, but you can tell that's the trajectory the book is taking. And it isn't necessarily certain that that would have happened if Tris had lived. In a way, her death causes a happy ending. And I don't know, like, I just there's so many happy things about the end if you really read it, if you're not just looking at the Tobias and Tris relationship. The story is about so much more than that. It's about the world as a whole. It's about Chicago, which is having a happy ending. I like to think Peter has a happy ending, Kara has a happy ending, all of these people, what's her name, Shanna, she has a happy ending. Like, it really is happy, I promise you guys. Like, I think once people pull themselves away from it, if they reread it again, they might see that. I don't know. I hope so. Because that's how I view it. It gives us this opportunity to see more. And I think her more about humans, and this really doesn't make any sense. But, and then I just, this, like, little paragraph, I'm going to read it because I think it's one of the best things. And Ford says that it's when he kind of wants to make himself forget, which, does anyone watch Once Upon a Time? Because it totally made me think of when Snow White basically made herself forget about Prince Charming, and then she was all like mopey and everything. And Christina tells him not to. And like, go Christina, she was awesome. And like, by the way, she lost someone too, like, especially since Trish said she would never leave her. Like, she's going through stuff, but she's still willing to help. Anyways, and he's thinking about this, and he's so afraid of being Marcus and everything, and he says, like, to himself or whatever, there are other kinds of people in this world. There is the kind like Triss, who after suffering and betrayal could still find enough love to lay down her life instead of her brother's. Or the kind like Kara, who could still forgive the person who shot her brother in the head. Or Christina, who lost friend after friend but still decided to stay open to making new ones. Appearing in front of me is another choice, brighter and stronger than the ones I gave myself. And I think that's beautiful, especially the part about Christina, in that no matter what, she never stopped trying. And I think honestly, she's the hero in this story. I like, not in like a, oh, she's better than well, I kind of do think she's better than Tristan Tobias, but she's a hero in the most everyday, normal way you can be one, and that's by not giving up. And she doesn't have to come to this realization after 3 books. She continues to try, and she continues to fight, and in her is humanity. Like, she is the one who represents this amazing capacity that human beings have to love and to care for people no matter what. And I think that perfectly describes her, and to me, she is humanity. And the fact that she's alive is so important. Like, because she's going to continue to be this person, and she's able to show Tobias how to be this person. I feel like she and Peter sort of like have an effect on each other, and she kind of shows Peter that. Hopefully I can edit this to make sense, because I don't know. But that was my review of Allegiant. Like I said, 5 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. It made me want to reread the whole series, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to be a good girl and read new books. But I think next year I am. I'm going to reread, I mean, I back-to-backed Divergent and Insurgent because I was late to the Divergent train. But let me know what you thought, if you agree with anything I said, or if you just think I'm the crazy lone person that actually enjoyed this book and has weird theories. I know my theory about Christina being like the true hero of the book is a little weird. It's kind of I just thought of that while filming this, but I really do believe that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.